Another Monday has come, and you have come back to a last take, a shot in the dark. What is going on, people? What background man? Where my claps at? What is going on? I am your host, Mr. Kevlar. Treat him swell. Join with me as always, Mr. Skip.
Turn your headphones around. I think you got the mic on the wrong side.
Mr. Skip.
Look,
Skip's Trophies and
what's going on, people?
Y'all couldn't have figured this shit out backstage. And to his left up there, Mr. Diamond 30D.
Still kind of low, fella.
Like
What
you
you
said.
got going on tonight? You done went to the gym.
Damn it.
What you got going on?
Oh, no, I got the off-brand headphones on. Anyways, Coach A, what's going on with your player?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I got a chance to participate in the lineman challenge again this weekend with my lineman. One of them motherfuckers.
Oh, come on, come with the hardware, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Good job.
We got a chance to practice this weekend with the team Sunday. So other than that, man, just got some rest. Good weekend.
You know what? When we get into it, I'm gonna ask you a question about your line because you're. It's not bragging because you're winning, but you're taking your linemen your linemen to all these different challenges every weekend, and they're dominating. How many times in an average in the game does your quarterback get touched?
Good question, Skip.
Okay, let me ask you a question. About how many times do a sack? How many sacks a game does your line give up?
Maybe one, and that's when the second season.
Okay.
I won.
That's
how
about
well, even so, the piggyback on that, coach, how much pressure do they get on the quarterback? Because it's a difference when you get pressure and a sack. You get a lot of pressure on your quarterback at the age group, because I know you got multiple defenses coming different ways.
Yes, sir. It's mostly just a 5-3 or a 4-4, but yeah, man, they get after it, man. You got a couple of teams who match up size-wise with us, who give us a good run, but all in all, we dominate.
And then what? I know we got somebody in the back. I got to ask both of y'all the same question, but how y'all came up with these counts, man, like this? Come on, Mister. You got together guns all night up there.
You would think he prepared for the draft, ain't he?
I mean, Will Levis 2.0 up here with his guns out and so forth. And he's trying to get drafted. Ladies and gentlemen, Kev is trying to get drafted to near Rick Ball League, near
Prison League.
Y'all say what you want.
Got to start somewhere, Kev.
3 months ago, I was 265.
Ooh.
I am 229.
Ooh.
Wonderful, brother. Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ain't nothing wrong with trying to be healthy. Honestly, it's off the subject of sports, but I found out that diabetes runs in my bloodline, and that just scared the shit out of me. So I was like, I got to get back.
That's understandable. I think all of us.
Yeah. Let me know. I'll give you the sauce. Well, hey, man, we are going to go here from KJ's Mobile Auto Detailing before we kick this thing off. You know how we do it.
This episode of Last Take is brought to you by KJ's Mobile Auto Detailing, LLC. Hit up KJ anytime. He has same-day appointments available, y'all. Y'all got to hit him up. Same-day rain guarantee. Memberships available. Disinfectant, sanitization services, wash, wax, carpet shampoo, claying, steam cleaning as well. Hit them up at 470-214-1423.
All right. Yeah, hit up KJ for all of your auto detailing needs. Now, we are about to return to the coach's corner. Yes. No claps. All right. Well, Mr. Abe, You are now a regular on our show. You are a member, a patron. Hey, coaching for life. There it is. So I'm going to let you introduce tonight's guest.
All right, I appreciate it, Kev. And thank y'all again for having me, man. It's been a honor to join y'all. I've learned a lot just by sponging up some of the info y'all give out, the way y'all ask y'all questions, and it's helped me a lot because this is something I just always low-key wanted to do. I like to talk sports, not just you sports, all sports, But getting our guest today, man, a real great friend of mine, bro. He really the reason I started coaching. I started out being a dad, an uncle. My nephew started out playing Little League football. And the first person I brought him to was the Atlanta Vikings. And this guy at the time was head coaching there. Well, he actually was head coaching there, but he was a coach on the team. And circumstances happened. He ended up being the head coach, by the time the season got started. And, just seeing even though he had a kid out there, just seeing his love for the game, he taught me so much about how to do stuff the right way, how to be personal with parents, how to talk to different kids, deal with different kids' personalities, and we groomed our team up to be one of the best teams in the country. We got 4- and 5-star kids going to 12th grade, now. One of them in particular, KJ Bolden, he's a 5-star. He's the #1 recruit in Georgia. He played with us since he was 7. We started Kid Blossom. But just a real good mentor to me. Over 50% of this youth football stuff that I know, I sponged it up from this guy. And I just really appreciate it for giving me that opportunity, showing me the passion that I needed to do to be a coach in this youth football. Grow to the coach that I am today. And I just want everybody to welcome my good friend, Hilton Rock King Alexander.
Hey.
Hilton Rock
And
King.
claps.
Rock King. Interesting. We'll go ahead, clap. We got a lazy audience. We go get right into the questions, Mr. Route King.
Well, let him introduce himself, then, Skip.
All right. Damn.
Introduce yourself, kind sir. Okay.
The floor is yours, sir.
The floor is yours.
Oh, can you hear us?
I'm introducing myself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
You the
cool.
one on the screen?
Yeah. All right, so first of all, man, appreciate Abe, man, for just even inviting me on this platform, and I appreciate the remarkable introduction, bro. The feeling is mutual, man. In terms of our friendship, has always been very close. We just hit it off really early, and we remain close over the years, man. Even though he's coaching in a whole other organization than mine right now, we still good partners. We still talk all the time. We still share the same passion. We still have conversations. We still support the kids and all those things. He support my son like he was his own. And so I appreciate, the introduction and also just inviting me tonight. But for those who don't know me, my name is Hilton Alexander. Route King comes from the name of my training company, which is Route King Training, which was established in 2014. And basically the premise of my company was to provide in-season and off-season training for those individuals that's playing sports. And I won't just say football because I train all sports, football, baseball, basketball, track and field, you name it. Basically just helping those athletes get faster, quicker, stronger, more explosive, more skilled, and so on and so forth in the off season and also in season. So that's my training company in a nutshell. I service kids from the age of 5 years old. You wouldn't believe it, but there are a lot of 5-year-olds out here, y'all, that's starting to train at an early age. And so we start at age 5 all the way through the pro level. So, in the last 5 years or so, I've gotten to the point where I train a lot of professional athletes as well, and some of the top college and high school guys. So started with the youth and just moved up from there, man. Just trust the process, continue to grind, and my company continue to grow.
That's what's up.
What's up?
Great job. Go ahead, Skip.
Now, Route King, the moniker Route King.
Yes, sir.
Did you get that name because you're a hell of a route runner, or you can teach us how to run routes the right way, the best way to run them? Explain that to me.
Hey, that's a good question. So what happened was, man, it's kind of funny how Route King came about. I actually started just really training my own kids. I got a daughter and I got a son. My daughter's name is Kayla and my son's Deuce. He's second, so we call him Deuce. But I started out with training them, just being a dad, just working with your kids who've been introduced to sports and just helping them out. Because of my background, I played football and I ran track at Morris Brown College. Shout out to the HBCUs. So I was All-American in football and track. And then I was lucky enough to play in the NFL for 3 years with the 49ers and with the Saints. And I played wide receiver. So obviously wide receiver run routes. So now when my kids started playing sports, my daughter was first because she's the oldest. I started training her for softball and track and field. And she was very successful. She was beating all the boys in track and nobody could tag her out in softball. And then when my son came along, he started at 4 years old. He said he wanted to play football. So I started coaching him and training him. And when people started to see the success of my own children, they started to say, hey, man, what are you doing with your kids? I'm like, I train them. Like, can I pay you to train mine? I was like, well, just bring them out here. So what happened was I just started training other people's kids too. And one thing led to another, man. Stuff started hitting social media and word of mouth. And next thing you know, I got 30 and 40 kids in one session at Mays High School. A probably over there.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that it just started to become a business. My wife was like, you need to legitimize this. Like, this is a business now. You can't keep up with all of this. And one of my buddies, man, by the name of Coach Dwight from Welcome All Aid, Coach Dwight called me one day. He said, man, I got somebody for you. I want you to train your son going to college to play football. He said, I told you the Route King. I said, hold up, that's catchy right there. He said, what? He said, Route King. He was saying like that. And I said, you know what? I like that. And so I just took it and ran with it, man. And I got my LLC, I got my websites, I got my social media, I got my all my branding and my logos, and the Route King was born.
There you go. Good stuff.
That's what's up.
Now, you said something too. You said that you train 5-year-olds. Now,
Yes,
I know being 5 and 6, but under 10 is too early to start with weights.
Yes.
What kind of training do you do with children that young? Because a child, if he sees the butterfly, his attention span is gone. So how do you work around that to keep their attention, number one, and to teach them something that they'll remember until the next day when you have to drill it back into them again?
Good question right there. I think that reason why I've been able to be successful with the younger kids, I got patience. First of all, you got to have patience to deal with that 5, 6-year-olds who don't have that big of attention span. And the fact that I know that they don't have that great of attention span, you got to keep it engaging. You got to keep it fun and competitive for them. All right. And so that's something that I've just learned to master over the years. And early success is everything, right? At 5 years old, they're pretty much a blank slate. I oftentimes like to train the younger kids as opposed to getting a kid that haven't had any training and now he's in high school, because now I got to break all these old habits. He got to kind of relearn the right way. Whereas with these younger kids, I can take them as a blank slate at 5 or 6 years old and teach them the right way, and they never part from that. So that's why I was able to do it, man. And I always just make it, if you come to my sessions, it's going to be a lot of energy. I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of passion, and those kids feed off of that. They feed off of that, and that's probably one of the things that kind of led to the success, man, because that's the foundation of Route King training other little kids. I trained little kids way before I trained one professional player. And the professional players wanted to train me because they saw how well I was doing with the younger kids. And they say, hey, I want to be a part of that as well. So, I enjoy it, man. They started early, 5 years old. Not all kids are ready. I can't work miracles.
You're right. we understand that. As parents, we know that. So that's why I was wondering about the attention span and the attitude and how you approach the young kids that really out there, because their friends out there. Versus them really wanting to learn the game, at that age. Basic
fundamentals, keep it simple method. We always know the KISS method, right?
Right.
If it's too complex, then they lose confidence, right? They don't want to do it. They don't want to try it. You got to have the patience to walk them through the drills, show them, because you got different type of learners. I got some kids I can just point and talk and they got it. But I got other kids that I have to actually show them, right? Kinesthetic learners. So I got to actually show them how to do the thing. And then you got some kids that learn from others. They watch other kids do it and say, oh, okay, I can do it like that. So, I just learned how to adapt to all type of learners at a very young age.
Gotcha. And before I let some of my esteemed colleagues ask some questions, one more. You said you played pro ball.
Yes, sir.
But let's start. What college did you? Well, you went to Morris Brown. You did say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you played with the 49ers, I'm a 49er fan.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember you.
Ooh,
Not knocking you.
I got
I knew that's where that was going.
Yeah.
There's more than 53 players on the NFL roster. It's
No
just
doubt.
active players. So
No
it's
doubt.
no knock that I don't remember your name.
Yes,
My
sir.
question is going to be, was it one of those things where you signed and you were like third, fourth string, or you didn't get a chance to break the starting lineup?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a little bit?
I was signed with the 49ers out of Morris Brown as a free agent. And I was with them for 2 years on the practice squad. And then I also signed with them I was still on the contract. I played in the NFL Europe. This is back, y'all. You remember NFL Europe?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yes,
So
yes.
This is 2001 to 2003.
We here.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2003. So I went to NFL Europe. Then I got an injury. I got hurt. I got hurt going into my third year when I signed with the Saints. Career injury with my Achilles, and then I was done. So I never had an opportunity to get vested, get those 3 and 4 years in on the active roster and all those things because of injuries. You know, the fact that I even made it there from a Morris Brown college, you know, it's a small black college and university. Dominate if you're there. I got invited to the NFL scouting combine, did very well at the combine, ran a 4.3 at the combine, jumped to 39-inch vertical, 11.3 broad, which at the time was a record. And so that got me to that point. You know what I mean? But injuries sidetracked my career. It derailed my career.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was just going to say that was one of the reasons why I was so passionate with what I do with training. Because now, being that my career didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to, I'm kind of living vicariously through the kids that I touch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I'm able to have a conversation with them about football ain't guaranteed. That's why you got to fall back on. I got a degree. You know what I mean? You fall back on.
That's perfect, because what I wanted to ask was, so I grew up with Marcus Lattimore, South Carolina running back, tore both his ACLs in college. So he played 2 years with the Niners and then retired. I think now he's the running back coach at South Carolina, and that was a big thing that his mom always pushed when he was in high school. If he had a bad grade, she wouldn't let him practice because she used to tell him football ain't always going to be here. So what gave you that motivation to get back out there? Because I'm sure you had to take some time off after the big injury.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of cool that we get to ask an old player about this, because we talk about it all the time when we talk about these players getting their contracts, and they could get hurt and never be able to play again. So they need to get their money. You know what I'm saying? So being someone who got taken out or had to retire because of an injury, can you speak on that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was difficult, initially, especially psychologically, man. I probably for a year or two, man. I can admit I probably was in a state of depression. I gained weight. I stopped working. I didn't want to do anything that was football related to me. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like an embarrassment. I felt like I let my people down and let my dad down and my family who was all depending on me. So it's a lot of psychological things players go through once football is no longer there as an outlet. And so I think that what kind of got me out of that dark corner was my own kids. You know what I'm saying? My kids will start playing sports and stuff like that. I can just sit back with all this knowledge. One good thing that came out of it, right? Yes, it didn't materialize the way I wanted to, but I learned so much throughout the process. I learned so much throughout college. I learned so much throughout pros. And I've came in contact with a number of individuals that have all left pieces of them with me in terms of what they knew about the game. And so I'll be selfish if I didn't give that same knowledge back to my kids.
Right.
I'd be selfish if I didn't give that same knowledge back to all of the kids that I encountered this day with my training and with my youth football and all those things. So that was one of the things that kind of pulled me out of that, you know what I'm saying, and got me back to, doing love, man. If I can't play the sport, then at least let me touch them in other ways by teaching the sport. You know what I'm saying? And that was one thing that kind of got me through it. But it was difficult.
Yeah. Coach, that was gonna be one of my next segments. You kind of hit it on the head. with all of us have played, not to the level that you got to, which is a great accomplishment. But when that time comes and it's like it's over and
Yeah.
what's next?
Yeah.
I did try my hand in youth coaching. It's not to the point. This was back in what? My daughter was born in 2000, 99, 2000. I coached for 2 years at Oakland City. It was one of the hardest things I had ever accomplished and
Yeah.
tried. And I had 8 and under, and I moved up with them and went 10 and under. And I can imagine that, and that was back then. And it was some of the difficulties, but the caveat and the gratitude I got from it was teaching these kids and winning my first football game as a head coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did 2 years, I said, I'm out. Because it was just too stressful at the time. But with you going through a draft process or just training kids to go to the draft and seeing even with your own kids and so forth, you can see the pain on some of these kids' faces when they don't go in the first, second round. Because everybody thinks they're a first rounder.
Yeah.
And they think, they take money, they lose money, or whatever the case may be. And I watched the draft from day 1 all the way to round 7. Could you give me some of your insight, even coming in as a young man at the time, undrafted, trying to make a team, the reps and things, how they treated you? Did you have to do extra stuff compared to a guy that was a second, third, and fourth round pick, maybe?
Absolutely. I mean, you hit it right on the head. And the reality of it is the NFL is a performance-based business first, right? It is a business first. All right. And the draft process, to be honest, their job, and it's going to sound weird when I say this, but it's their job to find something wrong with you so they ain't got to pay you as much as you want, right? Their job is to knock you so they won't have to draft you as high. The lower they draft you, the less money you have to get, right? So if you watch the draft process and they're looking at all these different prospects, you're going to see their draft report, right? And it's going to always list their strengths, and they always going to list their weaknesses. Pay attention to it, man. Most of the time, the weaknesses are bigger than the strengths column, and that's because it's a bottom line business, man. They trying to get you at the lowest value as possible. So once you get there, if you are a lower round, just to give you an example, if you are a 6th or 7th rounder, you might as well be an undrafted free agent because you get treated the same as anybody that was. The only way that you will be guaranteed to at least be on the team for that year is 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round. Even 4th rounders is kind of shaky these days. 4th and 5th rounders. You know what I'm saying? I've seen 3rd rounders get cut. I don't know if y'all remember Maurice Claret from the Ohio State, the running back.
What stuff was wrong with him anyway? So
3rd round, they cut him.
Right? And Lawrence Phillips from Nebraska, same way.
1st round.
Yeah, but something was wrong with him.
Yeah. So it ain't a lot. It's not a lot of guarantees. But I'm gonna give you an example. The year that I was with the Saints, that was the year that they drafted Dante Stallworth out of Tennessee in the 1st round.
Gotcha.
Dante Stallworth, his first mini camp, right? It was a struggle for him, right? He was dropping some balls. He had a lot of MAs, mental errors, and blown assignments. It didn't matter. They kept him in there. They kept giving him reps. He ain't going away. He's a 1st rounder. You had a kid that was a free agent. He lined up wrong. They cut him. You run the wrong route, you get cut. Yep. You drop a ball, you get cut.
Yeah.
They got to cut that roster down any way possible.
Absolutely.
So they just looking for anything.
Absolutely.
It's just a simple coach. Yeah, but get out of here.
That leash is a lot longer if you're a top draft pick. You know what I mean? Your leash is a lot longer if you're a top draft pick. But as a free agent or a lower round draft pick, you can make the team, but I will say that it's a more difficult path and road for you to make it. Not saying you can't, because there's a lot of successful guys that went late round or undrafted that wound up making the 53-man roster and had a very long and successful career. Hell, you got some of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, Tom Brady going. He was a 6th rounder.
Say it again.
Tom Brady going to the Hall of Fame. He was a 6th rounder.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them.
Drafted in the 4th or the 5th round.
Absolutely.
Coach,
well,
I don't know if go ahead, Kev.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you can read the question at the bottom. But Katie asked, she said coaches are mentors and sometimes father figures to so many kids that they coach. How do you make sure that the same energy they give on the field is the same energy they give in school?
Yeah, good question, man. And being that, I graduated from college myself, and when I graduated from college, I graduated with honors, right? I was cum laude when I graduated, right? Then I graduated with honors. So education is real big, you know what I'm saying, for me. In my household, my wife graduated with a degree as well. And so we always emphasize education first. And Abe can attest to this. With the team that we coach, we will often ask for report cards. We will often make drop-offs to the schools, just pop up on to see how they're doing in school. Hell, most of them had our phone numbers because the harsh reality of it, y'all, let's just keep it real, right? I can be honest in this platform. We coach in the inner city. Majority of coaches don't have fathers. So I'm their father, Abe their father. All the other volunteer coaches that's out there coaching them are their fathers in a sense because we are in that father figure type role. So when mom is having difficulties with little Johnny at home, whether it's not paying attention, not listening to me, or not doing well in school, who do you think they called? They called us. You know what I'm saying? And so I embraced that role. Like Abe said earlier, I had a son on the team, but I didn't treat him no different or the other kid no different than I did my own child. You know, I treated them all the same. They all my sons. I'm still very close with majority of all those kids to this day. They can call me today, ask me for money. They can call me today if they're in trouble. They can call me to support them if they need me to come to the event that they having. We oftentimes go to games to still support those kids who don't have dads and all those things. So, yes, we definitely do emphasize the educational component. You know, we emphasize the importance of an education because that's how I was raised. My dad will always tell me, get your degree. Football ain't always be there. And guess what? Lo and behold, he's right. You know, less than 3 years, I was out of the game. I was done playing. But I had to fall back on, and I was able to get me a job to continue on and support my family.
So Coach, Ed did tell me you have your own youth program that you have in football too. I want you to discuss the name of that program. How did you get it started? Because that's what we was touching on. We had a
Yes.
young lady on from Louisiana last week talking about their program in Louisiana, and my question was, how do you get one started up? And then, you know, you being over it, how many teams and so forth, and then how y'all go about, you know, like you said, you're an aide coach, and I know y'all lose coaches and players and all that aspect, and to even coaching your son that's off in college now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when I first started coaching, I started coaching with the Atlanta Vikings program, which was a staple in the Atlanta community. Had been a very long time, very successful youth football program. And my son was 4 years old when he said he wanted to start playing, so I took him out to the top organization. So that's where I took him. And a couple of buddy of mine that I went to college with was in that organization as well. And so I remember when I took my son out there initially, I wasn't planning on coaching, y'all. I had no plans, no ideas or thoughts about coaching kids. I was just taking my son to play football, and I would drop them off, you know, for practice every day. And I think I did that for like 2 weeks. And what I noticed was after they finished the initial warm-up drills and stuff, they would have about 20 to 30 kids that would just take a knee. Nobody was working with them, though. They would take the kid that was a little bit more developed, right, and work with them and start running plays. But the other kids who were like first-year players like my son and others just like him, nobody was working with them. So one day I went down. I had a certain town. I was working with Department of Family and Children's Services because my degree is in social work. And I had off from work that day. And I went to one of the guys. I said, "Hey, man, what y'all gonna do with these kids that's just sitting over here for an hour for practice?" He said, "Man, we don't have nobody to coach them. We might have to add a third team." So they had that many kids out there where they already had 2 6 and under teams, and they needed a coach for the third team. I said, "Well, man, give them to me. I'll coach them." So that's how I started coaching. And so I took those 30, I think it wound up being about 35 kids that first year. And I recruited every dad I could find, right? It wasn't a lot. But anybody that an uncle, a cousin, hey, man, y'all come on out here and help me coach these kids. And so that's when my coaching career started. And so we wound up being with that program for about a good 3-4 years, I think. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the reason why we moved, it was time for something new. And the back end, you know, things on the administrative side wasn't being handled the right way. And so we just wanted to change, you know, and so we wound up starting the Atlanta Ducks. I didn't start it, but 2 of my other friends, Atlanta Ducks, and they asked us to come over with them, and we went over. But the Ducks didn't last either. I didn't even last 2 years. Yes, we won. Yes, we looked good when we did it. But the business side of things was taken care of the right way. And so from there, everybody came to me and said, Hilton, look, A was in this meeting. Bro, look, man, you got the resources, you got the name, you got the platform, you got a great team. How about you start your own organization? And it's a huge undertaking, you know what I'm saying, to start an organization, man, because there's a lot of responsibility. Everybody's responsibility falls on your shoulder now. And it costs money. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it real. It costs money and it costs a lot of resources. But at the end of the conversation, I agree. And so the Atlanta Bulldogs Academy was born. It started in January of 2017. And what I said was, I've been a part of two organizations, and I seen them both kind of fail, right?
Okay.
And so I learned from that. And all I did was try to do the opposite, right? So if they didn't have a 501c3 set up, I set up a 501c3. If they didn't give everybody what they're supposed to have with their registration, I ensured that everybody got what they paid for. If they didn't have a home field, I locked down a home field. If they didn't have a field to practice on with lights, I got me a field to practice on with lights. So everything that we wasn't getting in those organizations, I tried to make sure that I provided that as well.
That's good, Coach. You got something for us here?
You sound like you graduated from college, Coach. I mean, damn, you
Damn.
on the head with a sledgehammer, man. And you know, I have this saying. I say I'm a kind of big name on the car scene here in Atlanta. I'm known all around Atlanta about the car scene, and I tell people I plan to fail.
Yes.
And people are like, what you mean? Well, I think about everything that can go wrong. I come up with a solution for it. That way, when it happens, I'm ready for it. Wow. You know, because it's easy to plan to win, and then you're so disappointed and heartbroken when you lose.
Absolutely.
So if you plan to fail and you win, hey, I knew I was going to win, but I was prepared for the worst. So good job with that. The Bulldogs. Gotta hit you with this question.
Yes, sir.
Did y'all play against that fabulous team down in the corner, the Lambeau? Y'all played Lambeau.
Hey, so I knew this was coming. And look at Abe. Abe already getting ready for this right here, right?
He's like, let me go get the ring we won.
Wait a minute, Coach. Didn't I tell you gonna come with it?
Oh, yeah.
I told you that individual above me. He went to shit. I'm just gonna say he went to shit. He went to shit.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Answer my question, sir.
I'm going to answer your question, right, with a caveat, right? And here's the caveat. Coach Abe coached with me for 7 years.
Right.
We coached with each other for 7 years. We had one of the best teams in the country for 7 years, right? I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears together. We learned from each other. We taught these kids together. We learned more about the game. We've been in and out. We've been one of the most dominant teams for several years, right? So after the kids,
he left you and y'all got your ass whooped. Is that what you're going to say?
No, listen to me. Listen to me, Coach. So at 12 years old, we let our kids go because now it's time to let them go to middle school and high school and all that. We didn't want to continue to try to hold on to them, right? So at that time, I took a step away from coaching youth ball. I continued to run my organization, but I started coaching high school ball, right? Coach A continued to coach, right? So Coach A, he's a hell of a coach. He's a part of a winning tradition. He got a lot of knowledge. Of course, he's going to be highly sought after by some of the top teams out there. Lo and behold, in comes Lambeau. So now Coach Abe is with Lambeau. It's been 5 years since I've coached youth football. I'm being honest. I took 5 years away from the game. But within that 5 years, Coach Abe been kicking ass and taking names.
I know you answer my question.
Hold on. I'm coming. It's coming. For 5 years, he been kicking ass, taking names, right? He been stacking that. They got some of the best players at the A group, right? I ain't gonna lie. I'm talking about 2D, 3D. So I'm back this year. Last year was 10U, and I took over the ABA 10U team. And yes, we played them. The first time we played them was in Centennial Bowl, and it was a close game.
Yeah.
How bad did they do?
Yeah, it was a close game.
Give me a
What the scoreboard?
7-6. It was
7-6.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Like a regulation clock. What was it, bro? 21-6? 28-6.
21-6 in the state championship, yeah. But Centennial Bowl is like Centennial Bowl clock just like constantly running. You feel what I'm saying? So we probably didn't get but maybe 2 possessions apiece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So Coach, long story short, yes, he beat my ass just like he beat everybody else's ass.
But
But he got my. Hey, look, Coach A got the inside trader secrets over there and shit, man. All this stuff we learned over the years.
That's what I was going. That's what I was going to come with. So basically, you overwon the young Patty won down here and took everything from you, and he infused it into his organization, and now they're kicking ass. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Coach?
Absolutely, Coach. And get what, Coach? Y'all know how it be sometimes. Now I know y'all familiar with this saying now. Sometimes it ain't about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmy and Joe's. Yeah. Jimmy and Joe's over there, Coach.
When I asked the question, he had to go.
He got some Jimmy and Joe's over there, Coach.
They went to high school together and they coached together and they built this team up for 17 years.
Yeah.
Coach Abe left and went to he was highly sought out there instead of just saying, yeah, we got our ass whooped.
I had to give you the backstory though, bro. So
it doesn't matter about the backstory.
He said caveat. He said it had a caveat.
So, Coach, you said
go ahead, D. Go ahead, D.
You went on to the high school level in the background that Abe did tell us you got a son at Wake Forest.
Yes, sir.
Did you coach him all through the youth up to his Wake Forest tenure now? And absolutely. I know that gentleman above me, a couple of weeks back, I keep messing with him about it. Then that he said if his son is this type of athlete, that's what he gonna play. He gonna play nothing. I'm paraphrasing here. So how, I'm paraphrasing. So how will you identify your son? And you said your daughter also. I'll leave her out. And them having some of your traits and being an athlete and so forth. And your son going up to this level to play at Wake Forest, he told me he's already early enrollee already.
Yes, sir.
And he participated in the spring game from what he told me. How did that recruiting process and what was the advice? Because I have another friend, son that got recruited by Georgia probably a couple of years back with the Tri-City. Okay. And he said, and I'm not gonna mention his name on there because I'm gonna do that. But he said when he sat down with Kirby, he said Kirby wanted to talk to the mama. He didn't really want to talk to the father. And I was disturbed by that. And he's a single father, single parent, but he's a father. He has 3 boys and they're successful. And I was like, are you serious? So then when Aim told me that your son's at Wake Forest and you actually coached your son, did you coach? Was you dad on the field or was you Coach Hilton on the field?
A good question, man. I definitely was Coach Hilton on the field. But I'm gonna be honest. Anytime you coach your own child, whether it's youth ball, high school, college, you're gonna automatically get stuck with the daddy ball stigma. They're gonna automatically say daddy ball just because you're coaching your child. But Coach Abe is on this live right now, bro. He can attest to the fact that I treated my son just like everybody else. There was no favoritism. There was no nepotism, as we call it. There was nothing about me trying to push my son to be something that he wasn't. He earned everything that he got. All through youth ball, this kid practiced every day. He won every lap, every drill. He at the front of the line, right? And he celebrated his teammates. He was just as happy for them when they scored as if he was scoring, right? So he was always that kind of kid because that's how he was being raised. And I always coached and praised all of my kids the same. I coached them hard, but I praised them even harder. Not just my son, all of them was the same way. And they even went up to high school. I coached my son through high school too, right? I coached him through high school too. So the recruiting process, I'm gonna be honest, man, it was difficult. So when I hear that Coach Kirby didn't want to talk to the dad, won't talk to the mom, I believe that, and I'm sure that he's not the only coach that's like that. Reason being, it goes back to kind of what I alluded to earlier about most of these top athletes are single parents, like single mom. They come from a single mom household, so they're more accustomed to dealing with moms. Whereas they can get certain things off with the mom, they know they can't get that jump by dad, right? Dad know the game, he got a little bit more knowledge and background, but they get more familiar with the moms because moms really don't know what questions to ask. They really don't know the game like that. But the recruiting process for my son in particular was very difficult, and I'll tell you why. He didn't hit his growth spurt. You know, when my son entered high school as a 9th and 10th grader, he still was a scrawny 5'8", 130, 40-pound kid.
Mm-hmm.
He still was the same size he was when he played 12U at youth ball. So he didn't hit his growth spurt initially, right? But guess what? He always had big hands, right? Adult 2X gloves. He wore a size 12 and a half, 13 shoe. Right? When you go buy a pit bull, you look at that little, what they tell you, bro, big paws on the puppy, right? Yeah. You get the puppy with the biggest paws. So I knew he was going to grow. I'm 6'2". All of my grandparents, all my uncles, they 6'3", 6'4", right? So I knew he was going to grow eventually. His knees started hurting, and, you know, next thing you know, he shot up there, and now as a junior, he was like 5'10", right? He was a little taller than he had been. And then by his senior year, he was 5'11 and a half, and now he's 6 feet tall, right? So because he didn't hit that growth spurt early, his recruiting was very slow. You know what I mean? He didn't even have any varsity snaps as a 9th grader. As a 10th grader, he had very few, only one catch, you know, varsity as a 10th grader. So his junior year, he had a heck of a year. He wound up being all region. Same thing as his senior year, wound up being all region, all state. So he hit a spurt late, and then of course, you know, once he started performing, the offers started to come. And he wound up with 30 offers. But Wake Forest, I can't speak to Wake Forest. Wake Forest don't just recruit kids; they recruit families, and they really do like the 2-parent household. They like families. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of environment they want. But I know y'all watch Dion, right? And you've been following Dion. Y'all remember the controversial statements that he made about how they look at recruiting, right? He said he wanted his quarterbacks to be the smartest kid on the field, the valedictorian, come from a 2-parent household. He wanted them to be stable so they can be focused. That's a quarterback. But he wanted his D lineman to come from a single-parent household. Because he needed them to be dogs. He needed them to be hungry. Want to get mom out the hood. A lot of coaches have that mindset, man, when it comes to this recruiting stuff. It does.
But that attitude and idea is ass backwards. I know Dion, the Hall of Fame, I can't hold a match to him. I can't. Yeah. But that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
To say that. Now he can get away with it because he's Dion.
Yeah.
But to throw the kids in a bowl like that,
yeah,
you handcuff them. Because if that's the attitude that you're perpetuating, Nick Saban ain't finna go do that. Nick Saban don't want number 5 stars no way. You get what I'm saying? Don't matter whether they got 1 parent or no parents.
Yeah.
But the Tennessees and the Florida Gators and the other big time schools that might have been looking at these kids like, well, you know what? He might be trouble.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, they look at the weaknesses too.
Yeah.
And when D was telling me about the coach said, I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to his mama. Oh no, you're gonna talk to me.
Don't talk to me.
That's what I'm thinking.
Come in my house and tell me that. Now I get what you're trying to do, but that ain't how it work here. You run UGA, you don't run this house.
Yeah.
So sit down and talk to me, and I call my wife in here. But that ain't you. I don't give a damn about this school that much.
Yeah.
You can just tell me what you gonna do in my house.
Yeah.
But that's it.
And the terrible part, we just skipped because I was training him at my employment, and we were sitting down and we riding around, and he's telling me that he said, I know you love that team. He said, man, we in the office, and he told me that to my face. And I was like, he said that was the thing that just, shunned me away from him going to the University of Georgia. And that's what his kid wanted to go. He ended up going to Tennessee, and he transferred out of Tennessee when they had a little scandal over there or whatever. But I would just want to know, like, the recruiting process, because I wonder this, and now that we see Dion is basically putting a light on a lot of these things, and he's showing the stuff that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
And it's either it's good or bad. Some people like it, some people don't. And that's why I say when we were talking to you guys about even with y'all youth program, you training some of these athletes, I know we got to go into a subject of this draft, but that's why I was like, with the insight, even with your son being recruited, people you've trained, you've been able to talk to them and be like, hey, stay grounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want them to get the big head and get like, okay, I'm all this in the third, and then you blow your knee out, you get a hurt ankle, hurt shoulder, you break a finger, anything happen, or the stuff outside off the field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're right, man. I think I probably used the word trust the process more times in the last few years than I've ever used it before. because not just in the recruiting process, but also in the draft process. Because both of those are two difficult things to go through. Very, very stressful. It's a lot of anxiety surrounding it. But sometimes you just got to have those difficult conversations, man.
That's right.
Not every kid going to be a Power 5 athlete. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to go to a Division I AA school. It's okay to go FCS. It's okay to go Group of 5. Everybody don't have to go to Georgia and Auburn and Florida and Alabama, all these schools. They're not for everybody. Love who loves you, right? Love
And
who,
if you good, it'll show through.
they gonna
Cam
find
Newton went to a junior college and tore shit up. You know what I mean?
Hey.
People don't realize that.
they'll find you. They're gonna find you regardless.
That's right.
Play.
Now let me ask you this: being that you run a business,
Yeah.
do you ever get those parent? We know how sports dads can be. He's paying. I'm paying you all this money, and my kid ain't where he needs to be. You know what I mean? So how do you deal with that if it has happened or does?
Yeah. One thing I can't out train, out coach is DNA. Right?
Oh, bang, bang.
That's real.
That's the best damn way you could put that.
So,
science, bitch. You can't argue with it.
Stop sign. If you tell a parent that ought to knock his head off. He got this DNA problem. That's why he ain't playing.
It's sad. It's sad, but it's true, right? It sounds kind of harsh, but this is just the reality of it. I cannot put in what God have left out, right?
Ooh.
You can't come to me as a dad and thinking that your son gonna be a first rounder, and you ain't even play ball yourself, or you was sorry as hell when you played. You know what I'm saying? But all the time, DNA don't lie, man. You know what I'm saying? So most of these kids are gifted at an early age because their parents were gifted, their parents were blessed. Let me give you a prime example, right? Just to bring this point home. And Coach A gonna know the kid I'm talking about. It's a kid by the name of, does the name Dwight Phillips sound familiar to y'all?
Dwight Phillips. Played safety?
No.
Wait a minute.
Let me tell you what he was. He was a track and field athlete, gold medalist.
Yes.
Dwight Phillips, right?
Yes.
His mama name is Valerie Phillips. She was a Division I track and field athlete. They got a son named Dwight Phillips Jr., right? Me and A coached him all through Little League. And when we got him, coach, he was fast as all outdoors, but that joker didn't know left from right. You tell him to go right, he gonna go left. You tell him to block this person, he gonna block that person. He couldn't catch. He just couldn't remember plays. It was a lot of things going on with him. But we all reached a consensus as his coaching staff. When this kid figure it out, because of his DNA, he gonna be a premier kid. Today, coach, this kid got 30 to 40 plus Power 5 offers, and he's now committed to go play at Georgia.
Hey, shit, there you go.
The track. Yes. I see.
There you go.
Yes. I see.
You got another kid. You got a kid named Jelani Thurman. We ain't coaching, but we familiar with him in the Little League world. His name's Jelani Thurman. They call him Tank. His mama played volley in the WNBA and overseas playing right now basketball. His daddy was Odell Thurman that played at Georgia, played for
Odell Thurman.
Linebacker.
Man, that joker right now is a blue chip tight end at Ohio State. Rightfully so. So very rare do you have a blue chip kid, 4- and 5-star kid, and he ain't come from no pedigree.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you just got to keep it real with yourself too, man. But a lot of people are not willing to do that. But you just got to be honest, you know what I'm saying, with where your child is in terms of their skill set. Now, every child going to be a blue chipper, man. Be happy if your child is getting the FCF entrance or your child is getting Group of 5 entrance, because you cannot shun those colleges because you never know, man. This jump, it changes so much, coach. You might have a coach now that's at an HBCU. I ain't going to no HBCU. You diss that coach. But y'all know how this stuff works. That coach now is no longer at that HBCU. Guess where he at now? Now he at Clemson. And now you're like, hey, coach, what's up, baby? No, dog, you remember when I was over here, you didn't want me. You weren't paying no attention here.
I think on a couple of our shows back, we discussed this, how when Dion left and went where he went, how the relationships with you guys, just like yourself, the way you've been coaching these kids, Coach A has been coaching these kids. And I was just telling the fiance here the same thing. I was like, you got to understand something. This is what might happen. They might want your son, and you probably know this, Coach. And they be like, well, hey, we might give you a coaching job if your son come.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Right or wrong. And vice versa. Like coach can get a job, either one of you on a high school level, because they looking at one of y'all kids in y'all youth program and they waiting on him to come up. A skill position, lineman, whatever the case may be. And then he turns around and say, well, coach, we're gonna get you on the coach staff because we need this kid to come over here. That's how some of these relationships work. And I'm like, it's just like on a regular job. Even on I remember a coach, you might remember this too. You remember when Dunwoody went undefeated but I know I was a freshman. Dunwoody and Rod Perry was their running back. They went undefeated last time they won state championship.
Okay.
That Hilton coach used Rod Perry to get on the Georgia staff as a recruiter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I remember that to this day.
Cedar Grove is right around the corner from my house, and they've won 3 of the last 4 state championships. They coach whole ass and went to Georgia State.
See what I'm saying?
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, but they recruit. Cedar Grove recruits. So it's serious over here.
But this was.
I just think that, one of the things that we focus on during my son's recruiting, man, is longevity, right? So we looked at the staff. How long has that staff been there? And how long did that staff plan on being there? You know what I'm saying? Because with so many moving parts in college sports, man, you don't want to go somewhere with the guy that recruited you is no longer there because it changes. Look at now what's going on in Colorado. The Colorado players that was already there, they've gone publicly now and said that this new staff don't even talk to them.
Wow.
They don't even talk to them. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because, my son kind of went through something similar. He got recruited by a receiver coach. As soon as he got there, the receiver coach retired. Right? He was older. He had been around a long time. But we chose that school because of him and his experience and the guys that he's developed and sent to the league. But he retired once my son got there. They brought in a whole new receiver coach. And initially, that receiver coach wasn't really, he ain't my guy. He wasn't really paying my son no attention. Wouldn't even giving him no reps at first. But then, they always say the eye in the sky don't lie. Right? He got his opportunity and he started putting it on film every day. And next thing you know, he ain't leaving the field. And he earned that coaching respect. But that don't happen all the time, man. All the time, the writing be on the wall. When they come in, I want my own guys. And they kind of tell them guys go on to get in the transfer portal.
Wow.
That's what Dion did. And a lot of people, you can't take a scholarship from a kid unless he does something wrong.
Yeah.
But you can discourage them and tell them to hit the transfer portal.
They doing it, coach.
Tell them they go get their number, and they leave it. You can't take the scholarship unless they do something to get it taken. So you tell them, hey, man, everybody position up for value. If you want to leave, go.
Yeah. And
the transfer portal and the NIL deals are letting people, get out of here.
Yeah. It changed, back when we were playing. Shoot, transfer. I ain't transfer. I got to sit out a whole year. You know what I'm saying? So you thought twice about that. You know what I mean? But now, like you said, you can transfer in the same conference, the same level, and play right away.
So, Cole, we're gonna try to get into this draft right quick. You with us? Go ahead, Kev. What we got?
Well, shit. Really, it's not too. We're not gonna break down a whole lot. I'm really just gonna ask y'all. What was some wins? What was some losses? Did your team get somebody good? Did your team get somebody you hate? The mic is fucked up, ain't it? Take it away, D.
No, your mic good. Your mic good.
Oh, okay. You sit there looking, I'm like, oh shit.
He's trying to run from it. That's what he's trying to do.
No, I'm going to talk about.
Go on and hit the mute button again, because I hear all that noise, all that rain you got going on, and so forth and whatever. Go ahead, Skip.
I've been called a hater all week because I'm pointing out truths. TRUTHS. No team in the modern draft era outside of one, two, Detroit being another one, go in the draft and pick shit they don't need. Detroit drafted wide receivers and everything else. They didn't need that shit. That's how they lost Barry Sanders. But anyway, let's get back to the modern day Detroit Lions. Them goddamn Falcons. Y'all got to run a pizza.
Don't talk to me, I'll murder you.
From the contract. And you let a dog leave the dog on the porch. Don't need with the 8th pick. Oh man, we need him. No, you don't. You need defense. Somebody said I was hating because this dude, what's his name, Martin, from Georgia. What was his name, D?
Carter.
Linebacker.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
Was projected number 1 till he got in a little bit of trouble. Straight dog. And the Falcons said, nah, we don't want no good defensive player. We want a running back that's going to have to platoon. Because he's not going to go in and start. That's my prediction. He's going to have to platoon. And the people that call me haters don't want to realize the truth. Why would you go get something you don't need with a pick that high in the draft? I'm gonna defer to the other coach, not you, Route King, the other coach in the group.
I'll mute yourself.
The resident Falcons fan, we should add.
Skip.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You don't know what's gonna happen yet, brother. You gotta wait and see. Jalen Carter could get hurt. Jordan Davis was highly touted, way higher than Jalen Carter. Was the best player in the draft last year. He ain't played too much of any downs with Philly. They already had dogs in front of him.
Y'all got a dog. Y'all got a dog. Y'all defensive line.
Now I'm gonna give you everything. I let you.
Hold on, Skip.
I let you talk. Now you gonna let me talk. I let you talk. You gonna let me talk? Okay. The draft. Jadeveon Clowney came out in the year before he knocking dude from Michigan helmet all this and that, right? Who on this show now can tell me that they didn't think he was the best player in the draft coming out? Everybody did, right? He went number 1 overall, right?
Yeah.
Right? Aaron Donald was also in this draft, bro, and Khalil Mack, who got drafted below him.
But now
You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't
Maybe
matter.
Clowney was a monster in college.
It doesn't matter. Are you gonna let me finish? I'll let you finish. I didn't interrupt. Okay. It doesn't matter where you drafted, bro. Nobody thought Aaron Donald was gonna be Aaron Donald. Nobody was talking about Aaron Donald. Everyone was talking about Jadeveon Clowney and Khalil Mack. No, Aaron Donald went 13th.
He went in the first round, right?
You see what I'm saying? So it don't matter. It matters on the situation you put in, the coaching, how you put the work in. Jalen Carter could very well be a bust. He could very well be. Lord willing that he don't. But just because we didn't get him don't mean it make us unsuccessful in the draft. We were only a quarterback away from winning 5 close games, 1-score games last year. You see what I'm saying? With no Jalen Carter, no D-line, I let you talk. Now you're going to let me talk.
Y'all can stop.
Muted.
We were a quarterback away from winning 5 or 6 1-score games. Mariota butt fumbling. Come on, bro. So you're
only a quarter away.
We messed up. A lot of 7 other teams passed on Jalen Carter. So why I got to be the Falcons?
Well,
that's why I'm saying you hate him, because Jalen Carter didn't go. It was other teams that passed on Jalen Carter too. So all the rest of them stupid too.
Okay. You finished?
Now you got the flow.
Now, Jalen Carter didn't need no damn defensive tackle. Wasn't no defensive tackle taken before him. Y'all need fucking defense. That's it.
The people who passed on Aaron Donald didn't need Aaron Donald. The people who passed on Aaron Donald didn't need Aaron Donald. But if you go back now, with every team on there pick Aaron Donald before they pick anybody else. Am I right, Pamela?
But see, listen to what you're saying.
Aaron Donald, Pamela?
But listen to what you're saying. That's hindsight what you're talking about. At the time, they didn't need a defensive tackle. Y'all need one.
So
that's the point. You don't need a running back.
We signed 3 off free agency.
Man, shit.
We signed 3 off free agency. We signed Calais Campbell, Ayamada. We signed Calais Campbell, Ayamada, and one more other D-top. So we didn't want to draft him, bro. It's okay. Just because we didn't draft him don't make the Falcons unsuccessful. That's what I'm saying. It's all opinionated. That's what it is.
I said they picked something they didn't need.
We have guests. We have guests in the house.
You got the best back in the draft.
We
Enough
have
about
guests.
these garbage ass Falcons. D, go ahead and tell us about them Philadelphia
No,
flipping
no, no,
Bulldogs.
no, no,
Let's
no.
talk about those second-ass Cowboys.
Wait a minute. I'm going last. We got guests. Mr. Hilton. I like Coach Hilton to speak his piece.
Okay.
I don't know what
Sure.
his team, man. We have guests in the house. And being that he went through this process and he know he has some kids in this process. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to hear his take on this situation. We already know what took place. I'm out the chalk. So let's continue.
I guess he's an Eagles fan.
Exactly, John.
Okay.
He got dropped as a child.
I mean, I agree, man. I do feel like I like the kid though from Texas though. I do like the running back. He held a running back, but it's a valid argument that like, do we need a defensive player other than Grady Jarrett? Other than Grady Jarrett on that D line, I mean, who else do we got that really being an impact player? So I get that, but then also on the offensive side of the ball, who's our impact player on the offensive side of the ball other than the tight end / receiver that we got out of Florida? What's his name? Abe?
Pitts.
Yeah.
We really don't know who he is because he don't really do too much.
He been hurt a lot, so he ain't really materialized. And name another receiver from the Falcons.
You got Drew.
Somebody name me a receiver from the Falcons right now.
I got you, Coach. I got you. You drafted Drake London last year. Keep it going.
Yeah, he didn't have an immediate impact. So I get what A's saying. Like, we needed some impact players too on offensive side of the ball. So the argument can go both ways. Go ahead, Skip.
You're right. See, your Falcon fans are making my argument for me. Jeremiah Garrison said the Falcons was #1 in the league in rushes. Now they got a huge talent in that position. If y'all control the ball, that means you had time of possession. If you was the #1 in the league and running the football, why do y'all need a running back again?
They wasn't the #1 team in Russia.
That's what they said. I didn't say that. Jeremiah said that.
He is dead ass. I'm sorry, sir, but you are not.
Maybe I think Rush did.
Rushing attempts. But this is the thing. This is the thing. Let me say this too. Let me say this too. We got a superstar here. We got a superstar here.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? How you doing? What's going on, brother? How you doing? We just heard some good things about you.
What you say?
I said we just heard some good things about you, and A told me that you might be showing up this evening and your experience up there, your journey in Wake Forest.
Oh yeah.
2 questions. What's your 40 time?
I just ran a 4.4, but I had a knee brace, so I'm definitely faster than that. So
there you go. And do you feel like you got some super competition up there going into next season?
Yeah, I do. I'm competing for jobs right now, but I'm looking good.
That's what I want to hear. Good job.
Great.
Congratulations, man.
And you ain't fighting over no number of days. You what up there? They gonna give you your number, or we ain't fighting over no numbers.
Oh nah.
Hey,
Okay.
What's up, man?
What number you wear?
It's your freshman.
82.
You gotta earn them stripes. That's right.
Yeah.
Go up there and kick ass, man. I'm gonna try to watch every game that's televised, brother.
Yeah, man, we're rooting for you.
Make sure we will be watching, you know. And I'm gonna tell Dad, like, you out there half-ass, Dad. We need to have a conversation. We out there half-ass.
I got you.
Back to this foolishness here that y'all are trying to start. Back to this foolishness that's going on here. We know the Falcons need a lot of holes, and for their GM to come out and make a statement that the game is won in the trenches, and I'm sitting there for like the game is won in the trenches. Now I got a caveat for you, Skip. Being, as even Coach said, they talk about the weaknesses, and that's what they draft y'all for because Jalen Carter failed. Now, B, do you think just because of the talent or the off the field issues is the reason why the Falcons didn't take a flyer on him? Because if you bring him here, do you think he would not be in Athens every weekend or running around the city of Atlanta getting anything in their mindset? You think that? And then on the flip side, this is what I came to the conclusion in. Remember, we always said we didn't know what type of identity the Falcon team was. They didn't have no identity.
Right.
Guess what? They are, ladies and gentlemen, Falcon fans, they are now a running team. That's it. They gonna try. They know their defense is weak. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
And
Stay
everything you said is
with me. Stay with me.
But-
They're gonna try to control the clock, keep the game close, and see what happens. All the games last year was competitive.
Yeah.
Regardless, I can't take that from. They were very entertaining. Every week we came on here and talked about the Falcons. It was a fumble here, time of possession here, a bad call on a sack, and so forth. They was in every game. Now I believe the GM and the coach are bumping heads with some of these picks.
Mm-hmm.
That's my belief from what I see and what's going on. But guess what? This is the first time again we got a Falcon coach. They're giving him all the pieces for whatever spot, whatever pot he trying to stew up, or whatever he's trying to do, and you gonna see. That's all I can say. The kid out of Texas is a hell of a running back. But I told you, I want him. But I appreciate y'all not taking Taylor Collins. I really do. I really do. We just gonna keep the thing rolling up there in Dog Nation up in Philadelphia. I'm very fine. I'm very fine.
The one thing you said, well, all the stuff you said, spot on. And he probably does have character issues. I get it. But you cannot neglect the fact that if you got the right stuff in place, coaches, i.e., clauses and contracts, it'll slow some of that down. I know when you're young, you're going to do it anyway. I get that. But you, as a football fan, and no, I'm a 49er fan, so I don't like nobody in the league but the 49ers. But as a football fan, when you say time and time again, we had bad quarterback play, we lost one possession games, it wasn't just that. You cannot just say my defense, the score was 35-34. It was bad quarterback play. What about that defense that gave up 35 points? What about that part? And if you can improve it by leaps and bounds, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that man would have made an instant impact. You, like the man said, y'all led the league in rushes, not rushing yards. So y'all was running the ball. If you ran it that goddamn much, you had to be doing something. So now you want to get 5 yards of rush? Come on, man. But you know, it's called hate when you tell the truth.
But as a 49er fan, that ain't for you to worry about, Skip. It's okay. You sound like you feel sorry. It's okay. You're gonna be fine. I promise. We're gonna
Watch it play over there.
Well, hey, Abe, let me ask you this, Abe. Something you should worry about. That boy Bryce Young that went #1 overall to your division rival. Now, how do y'all think, what do y'all see for the Panthers coming out, getting the #1 pick?
Struggle bus.
Good. I mean, that was a pretty much obvious pick. Everybody knew that they was going to either take Stroud or Bryce Young. I feel like Bryce Young was the safe pick. I feel like he was probably more pro ready. Now, Stroud put on a hell of a performance against Georgia. In that Peach Bowl game, I think that's what it was, which really kind of got him to where he at. I think before that game, he was, him and Levis might have, him and Richardson might have been fighting to see who's better, but that game catapulted him. But I do think Carolina's still going to struggle just a bit. I don't really trust their O-line. They were pretty much a running offense last year, but they did get the back from Philly.
Miles Sanders.
They got Miles.
Yeah, look.
So they did get, and that's what all young quarterbacks need: some running back help, a tight end, a good, dependable wide receiver. But he definitely need a back. So I know Carolina's offense.
Coach,
they let him go. He went to the Bears.
Exactly. So that's what I mean by struggle bus. I'm not saying he's gonna go out there and stank it up because I think he's too good to do that. But if you don't give him, you can say you got a decent running game. Miles Sanders is proven. We get it. But Kev also said the line was struggling. So that's what I mean by struggle bus. He's going to have to do more scrambling than reading the defense because he's not going to get the protection. He don't have a relief tight end. Can Miles Sanders catch very good out the backfield?
Yeah.
That's what I mean by struggle bus.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by that.
So-
I'm not hating on Bryce Young at all. I'm just saying struggle bus because there's nothing else.
So
Yeah.
Jeremiah said Bryce Young got to throw it to himself.
Skip a couple of weeks ago did predict Bryce Young as the first pick in the draft. He did predict that. I also want to give a shout out because this is the first draft we had when we had 3 black quarterbacks get picked. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, whatever it was in the first round, in the top 5. Now, I ain't skipped this a couple of weeks back, Coach. Do you think Bryce Young is your day one starter, Coach Hilton? You gonna throw him out there?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, if not him, then who? I mean, you might as well. If he's the future of your franchise, I just feel like the best experience is playing experience. Put him out there, let him get a taste of it, man. I don't think that he's going to be very successful this year because he was drafted number 1 for a reason, right? And usually the number 1 player goes to one of the worst teams in the NFL. And so they got a lot of strides to make, and there's more than one need that they have on that team, obviously. But I just feel like if you're going to be the future of your program, man, just go ahead and throw him out there. Let him go ahead and get some playing experience. Just praying that the young man stay healthy as he get that experience. But it's just going to be a process. It's just going to be a process that they go through as they continue to add some talent around him because clearly I don't think he have enough right now. But they'll be fine in a couple of years. I think he definitely got the potential. The kid come from Alabama, which is one of the most prolific programs in the country, and they have a history and tradition of producing top players. So I know he's battle tested. I know he's mentally tough coming from a program like that. So why not go ahead and give him the keys to the car, man, and see what he do.
And he played against the best every week. He played against the
Yeah.
best every week. So it's not like he gonna come in here and just be shell shocked. Now his speed gonna be different, definitely.
Yeah.
But one thing I did, and didn't when I said this about Bryce Young getting picked first, I was asked the question, did I think he was gonna start? Peyton Manning came out number 1.
Yeah.
And he went 1-15.
He did.
Then he went 6-10. And then he went 12-4. So let's not take this man and just bury him because he's not going to succeed in his first year.
Yeah.
He got the tools because once they got Edgerrin James, they took off. The defense was there. They just had to get the offense right. So if Carolina does if their GM does what good GMs do, get you this little free agent, get you this guy here. Trade for this guy. Give up a third or fourth for this guy, put him in position, and let him get on the struggle bus this year or next year. 3 years' time, man, we're going to be talking about, y'all remember y'all said Bryce Young wasn't shit? So that's
and then we had the Texans coming right behind them, picking CJ, and then pulling off a trade to get the guy Will Anderson. Let me tell you something. That franchise has been a dumpster fire. They had, since they come in, the Deshaun Watson debacle that we had down there. And I'm sitting here like, damn, in this draft, his moves getting made. Teams are trying to sustain. They tired of losing. They try a lot of the fan base, they losing money and so forth. Because outside, Deshaun Watson had the black cloud. They had the cloud over them too. You actually fired a coach last year because he won a game, so y'all couldn't get the first pick. Ain't that goddamn crazy?
The same thing
And
happened too.
Yeah, and now you end up with 2 of them, the dominant players that played college football last year in certain realms that we discussed this stuff. I was a CJ fan. I thought CJ was gonna get picked. I thought CJ in my mind was ready to go on the start. And the knock on them, coach, if you looked at this, it was crazy. The knock on him was he didn't run enough. Wait a minute, you can't have it both ways. I'm looking at the draft, and that was one of his things. They said he didn't run enough. So wait a minute. We want a pocket passer. Somebody was sitting in the pocket, and then you flip it and put his weakness in. He don't run enough. Are we talking about this part of us?
No. The needle is moving, D. Who are the top 5 quarterbacks in the league outside of Cincinnati and Burrow and thank you. They all running quarterback. They all have the ability to run. That's what I agree. That's why Will Levis didn't get picked.
Yep.
Think about that. You got to have something else now, that intangible part.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The needle moving.
Will Levis was a bum.
Josh Allen, he can run. Right?
He can get out of the pocket. Yes, he could.
So now you got to have that other part. Because now it's no longer blacks are not a small enough quarterback. You can't use that argument no more.
Mm-hmm.
What else can they do? And that's what's taking the league over.
The skill.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, I just want to just insert a quick comment about just adding to Skip's statement. I think the needle is moving too because most importantly, the D linemen are getting faster. Y'all look at these D linemen running for goals.
Yeah.
That goddamn Jordan Davis. What does he run?
Come on, man.
Faster than you.
300 and something pounds moving at me like a fucking freight train? Hell no. What the
Gotta
fuck?
be able to move, man. Ain't no more sitting in the pocket no more. These boys.
Yeah, man. The speed now that these kids got, man, is ridiculous.
Yes.
And D, get your ass on the line if you wanna do it. Come on.
I'm not racing, sir.
I think
I'll tear out a knee joint real quick just to prove a
No,
point.
I got a coach over here with me. He'll take care of my lightweight for you.
Shit, you got me, coach. I can already tell you that. You can already tell him that.
I want to comment about Houston. I think they did a great job getting CJ. Maybe gave up a little too much for Anderson. I think they gave up like 4 picks. Which probably gonna hurt in the future. I'm not sure if it was this draft or next draft, but I think they gave up 4 picks.
I think 2 was this draft, but 2 was next year.
Okay. A good thing also for Stroud coming in there is that he gets Michi back, the wide receiver. I think he came from
Alabama.
But he had cancer. He had some cancerous issues, and he got cleared. So that's a great receiver for Stroud to have. For his first year.
Right, familiarity, yeah. But with the sorrier teams, the lesser teams, whatever it be, getting these quarterbacks like this, I don't think the expectations is too high.
Yeah.
I think they get out there, just execute, stay healthy. Then the coaches will see what they need to wear and build off of that because the Texans got a long way to go. Those 2 players are just going to help them in those 2 positions.
Yeah.
When they got rid of the quarterback out from under Watkins, what was his name with the Plats? The wide receiver, I'm sorry. The wide out.
DeAndre
Hopkins from Clemson, yeah.
Yeah, when they got rid of him for no reason at all, okay, they finna get rid of it. They finna kill his team. Then J.J. Watt left and then Watkins left. So they got to build all that back.
Yeah.
But I just don't want nobody to get hurt. I said that last week. I want all these cats to get in there and show that they were worthy of the pick that they got picked at. Even this running back with Atlanta, he's gonna show out. I think they're gonna platoon him, like I said, but I think he's gonna show out. But in my opinion, looking at what they did last year, that's not enough. You know what I mean? But they could win 14 games and prove me wrong. But boy, every time y'all lose, I'm on your ass, Coach Dave.
Hey, Coach, I hope you know he fucking means that. He ain't gonna. If them Falcons lose, because he does it to me with these goddamn Cowboys. When them Falcons lose, Skip ain't gonna. Don't even come to work that day.
I think he's more of a Falcon fan than he is a 49er fan. He gets so emotional.
I'm gonna tell you what I tell everybody that make that statement you just made. I'm a football fan, and I know just as much about your team as you do, and that's what kills you. That's what kills you.
Opinionated about my team. That's it. It's an opinion.
I got a question about you. I got a question about your team, Mr. Skip. Y'all
chicken in the 3rd round. Go ahead.
You broke a record by doing that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, nobody ever did. Well, Janikowski. No, it wasn't a record. No, Janikowski.
It was Janikowski. The guy that got drafted by Tampa Bay was the last kicker drafted that high. Y'all broke the record by drafting higher than that pick.
Oh, okay.
At the time.
They drafted kicker in the 3rd round?
Yeah, drafted kicker in the 3rd round.
Now, hold on. See his face? Now, here you go, Coach A. What position we need to show up?
You could have got Dorian. You could have got Dorian Robinson out of UCLA. You need a quarterback. That's what you need, sir.
Dallas should have got a damn kicker.
You say nothing about we need a quarterback. Stop that. Shut your goddamn mouth. Y'all ain't got shit. I was
I hope you know that fucking Taylor
on 5 yards when we lost to Philadelphia, and he's still better than everything y'all got.
Heineke is going to be your starter by week 3.
In your opinion.
In Atlanta. In Atlanta.
Wait, this is what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand.
Hell
I
done
know
jumped
it.
on the skip train, man.
Wait a minute. Listen, they have to do this. They have to do this because this is the local team, sir. And being that them Cowboys down there ain't getting chances being you was in class at Mays High School, running around on the hall. Now don't laugh too hard, Skip, because y'all ain't won since 94.
You're right.
But y'all had more success in the playoffs than that team down there each year, bro. And then every week they won
in the playoffs in all these teams. All these teams down below me.
Coach P, man, you on here, bro.
Listen, at the end of the day,
out of nowhere, man.
I'm not. You know, I don't hate on them. I'm here. I want them to be successful because I get tired. Wait, let me finish. I get tired of the city being upset, and I gotta hear these people come on here and whine and cry. I go down there to the games, and y'all that painted the seats black and red, fooling these people on TV like it's folks in the stands, and it ain't. You got a beautiful facility down there. The man giving you free refills on your drink. Can you win a damn game? Can you win a game? It's a damn shame that Alabama got more trophies in that damn stadium than the fucking Falcons do. The Bulldogs got more trophies in that stadium than the damn Falcons.
Oh, you scared Abe away?
The soccer team. What the hell going on?
You scared him away?
He all right. I know Coach A did it. He has some technical difficulties. There you go.
He scared him away.
But it's all in fun. So Coach, who are some of the kids that you had participate in this draft that you were very proud to put your hands on?
Yeah, man, very, very proud, man. I actually had a couple guys, man. I was blessed to have some kids, man, and be a part of the process throughout college, and then obviously getting them ready for that either got drafted or either signed undrafted free agent, man. So one of the guys by the name of Tank Bixby, running back out of Auburn. Y'all familiar with him? Yeah, yes. Man. He wanted to get drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's what's up, man.
So Tank, man, and we go back, man. We got out the mud for real. I started working with him soon. He went to Auburn because they wanted him to, be a factor out of the backfield in terms of the passing game too. So he came to me, and we got to working on his route running in his hands. So I'm very happy, man, to see Tank go. He just hit me yesterday and said, "Hey, when we back at it?" So we train tomorrow before he even leaves.
That's what's up, man. Now that's what's up.
Yeah, and another kid, man. He was signed undrafted free agent to the Patriots, but I'm saying him next, man, because he's kind of near and dear to my heart. Man. Kid by the name of Johnny Lumpkin, man. I've had this kid since 8th grade, single parent household, grew up in the projects in Atlanta called Allen Temple. You know all about Allen Temple.
Yeah, right there where MLK.
I know, yeah. And I just saw that this kid had talent at an early age, man, and he had size, something that you can't teach. He had the size, and I just brought him under my tutelage and continued to develop him throughout high school and college. He went to Louisiana Monroe. And so he just signed with the Patriots, undrafted free agent, man. He got a good chance to make that squad. So I'm very excited for Johnny Lumpkin. Man, that I had a chance to train throughout his high school and college career. Josh Downs, out of North Carolina, UNC. Y'all see that he got drafted by the Colts, man. And very excited about him, man. He was one of them kids that was small in stature, man, but he always played big. He played with a chip on the shoulder because he was always told that he was too small. And so to see him, get drafted, man, and honestly, talent-wise, bro, he should have got drafted way higher than he did. But we all know why he got knocked because of his size and whatnot. But, I think successful career in the NFL, man. And then I had a chance to train Chris Rodriguez, running back out of Kentucky. He got drafted by the Washington Commanders. Trained him for a minute, man, for a long time since he's been in college. Trained Pokey Wilson out of Florida State. That's the number 8 of the wide receiver out of Florida State. Kid that was making the one-hand catch and stuff. He failed in the draft. He didn't get drafted, but he did sign a free agent contract. So hopefully he'll get a chance to make the squad. And then one other kid, Jaden Hazelwood. And y'all familiar with him because he's from the Atlanta area. Went to see.
Went to see the was at the time he was there. He went to Oklahoma first out of high school.
He went to Yep, and then he wound up transferring to Arkansas. And he came out, but he didn't get drafted, but he did sign a free agent deal as well. So them are the guys that I personally, you know what I'm saying, had a chance to coach or train, you know, throughout the whole process, man, that want to get the opportunity to play at the next level, man. So I'm just excited for those guys.
Now,
Hell
Coach,
yeah.
I got to take you back a couple of episodes that we discussed this. Remember, we talked about the guy that was another speed trainer, route trainer, or whatever, the coach out of South Georgia that made them derogatory comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with your business moniker and what you do, your resume, from what you're saying, here speaks for itself. Do you have guys that refer you, bring on, like you say, Tank? So Tank is coming to see you. Do you see some of the other, like some of his teammates might come, or you bring and have some more kids come in, or even somebody that's trying to rehab from
Yeah.
previous injuries that come and see you? And how does that work out for you? I guess it's been very lucrative then for you then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I've been blessed, you know, to be in the position that I'm in, man. And, you know, one thing about it, man, is your reputation, man. You got to be able to protect that at all costs. You know, it takes years and years and years to build a reputable reputation. But, you know, one incident could destroy it, you know, i.e. the situation with this guy down in South Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Before that, he obviously had a track record of producing top athletes and all those things. And now look at him. You know, that there's one slip up, you know, this one incident definitely pretty much derail his career. I doubt if anybody go to him for training from this point on. So I'm very protective of my reputation, and Coach Abe know that, man. And not just in training, but with my youth organization, with everything that I do. I understand that somebody's always watching. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, anytime that you're in this type of position, man, you're going to always have what we call haters, man. You know what I'm saying? But they say if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. You know, that's a true statement. But I have mastered. When I tell y'all I have mastered the art of ignoring haters, I have mastered it, bro. I don't pay them no attention.
You have to embrace them. You have to embrace them. You got to embrace them. You know what you're supposed to say? Hey, man, how you doing, bro? Shake his hand.
Yeah.
Knowing you.
Absolutely. Kill them with kindness.
You embrace your haters, man. And then you just smile like, what's wrong, dog? Just in a good mood, man.
Yeah.
Trying to give you something else to hate on.
Yes. But get what, Skill? You know, like you said, to that point, man, a lot of my clients come from word of mouth. And just, hey, man, I train with him. He the truth. You need to come train with him. Matter of fact, speaking of Tank Bigsby, he signed with CAA Sports, which is his agency. Tank Dale is also with him. First thing he said to me after he got drafted, I'm going to bring Tank with me. I want him to work with you too. So now I get an opportunity to work with a kid with Tank Dale. I probably wouldn't have had that opportunity had I not had a good experience with Tank. You know what I'm saying? So now this kid, man, is probably one of the most, in my opinion, probably the most dynamic receiver that was in this draft. I get an opportunity to possibly work with him sometime this offseason based on my relationship with another guy and his good experience. So that's is very important, man.
So when you have these guys coming to see you like that over the years,
yes, sir.
Have you had opportunities where you might say the Atlanta Falcons because they need receiver help?
Yeah.
Come calling, or any local program of anywhere around, or any professional program, because I know you're here local, so you know you can help out, because a lot of these guys stay here. Some of them around the surrounding areas, they come down here and party and do what they do. We know this.
Yeah.
And you've been in those positions that you're able to do that, because we know a lot of folks need some help around here. They on north side, right?
You know, it's funny to say that, man, because at one point, probably especially around the COVID era, 2020, 2021, somewhere in there, at one point I was training almost every receiver from the Falcons except Julio. All right. And the only reason I wasn't training Julio don't train with nobody. He'll tell you that. I train myself. I'm Julio. I don't need no training, right?
And look where his ass at now.
Yeah. That was Julio. Hey, Coach. Skip.
You're wrong.
That was really his mindset. He never trained. He said, I train myself. I ride bikes. I do bands and all that. But he never trained. But at one point in time, I was training Muhammad Sanu, Calvin Ridley, what's my other guy name? Christian Blake, Justin Hardy. You know, all the Falcons. I was training all of them guys at one time. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And one day, the old coach, what was the old coach name for the Falcons? The head coach?
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. I'm gonna send Abe the picture so he can send it to y'all. Dane Quinn came to my facility. He said, "Hey man, where this guy at the Route King, man, that's training all my guys?" He was doing a ride along with Atlanta Police Department. He was in the area where I was training at. They pulled up to the facility, and I came outside. I met him. I shook his hand. He told me, "Thank you, man, for everything you're doing with these guys. They talk about you all the time." I took a picture with him. He was very excited, man. And so I have had the opportunity to kind of touch some of those guys in the home team, but those guys are since gone. The days of Muhammad New and Ridley and Julio is over with. So it's a new stock of guys. I was training one of the other younger guys, Olamide Zaccheaus, but he let him leave. You know what I'm saying? He gone to the Eagles.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
they get talent and let it go.
Yeah, they let it go.
He was here first.
Yeah.
Oh, this man.
Leave it, let it go. Don't let it go. He gonna do it.
Before we jump into that rabbit hole, fellas, we gotta play this ad real quick.
Dang.
Are you and your friends or family looking to have a good time? Come experience Two Fresh Transportation. They offer multiple luxurious vehicles to choose from that are super clean and COVID sanitized. With all vehicles having a wide range of seating space, a custom bar with a hookah, and an Apple and Google TV, a PlayStation 5, a removable dance pole, and a custom stereo. So remember, next time you book a ride, book Two Fresh, because Two Fresh is above the rest.
Yeah. Too Fresh is above the rest. Well, Skip.
Look, you tell me later. You don't be trying to get all on the air with that. I'm just playing.
Hey, man. Skip, go ahead and give me your last take while you're up there.
Like I said during the draft, man, earlier during the show, I want all these young athletes, all these young quarterbacks, everybody to get in camp, get in shape, get where coach get trained, get in the best shape you can, and go out there and succeed, man. People say I hate teams because I always point out the bad shit they do and don't do, but I love football, man. That's just it. I want everybody to succeed except the Falcons. Because I'm a hater.
Hey man, got here. I said, hey, listen, thank you guys for turning in. Coach, I really appreciate your insight and joining us tonight. And I want everybody to understand this draft that take place from the first to the seventh round to the undrafted guys or whatever. I'm learning we're not going to call these kids busts because they went further than any of us as athletes did. They got an opportunity to play in this league, and the NFL stands not for long. You don't get this opportunity. So if family members out there, they had kids that went in the draft and these young men got drafted, put your arms around them, cheer for them, and look out for them because, you never know what might happen to them in this world they finna embark on, and all the millions of dollars and the looker-ons and the family members or whatever. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. God bless. And hey, be right back at you again next week.
Yes, sir. Coach.
My last take, man. I just want to thank and I appreciate Hilton for coming on. And just, spend some knowledge. I want you to pump your brand. No matter where I'm coaching at, we wearing different stripes or whatever. We always a phone call away from each other. I love your family. I know my family. And I just really appreciate you for all you taught me doing this coaching. Throughout the years that we've been coaching together. Even when we weren't coaching together. Just know I was still watching and still learning from you. I just want to shout out to Hill, especially his family, and shout out to the coaches who got on the live tonight, Coach Howard, Coach P, that coach with me out at Lambeau. And thank y'all, everybody, for watching.
There you go. Well, hey, Coach Hilton here. This is just our last take, man. Go ahead, plug your social. How can people reach you? If there's anything you want to say before you get off the air, go ahead and let it fly.
Gotcha, man. First of all, man, I appreciate you guys inviting me, man, to such a wonderful platform, man. Hey, man, I love you, bro. I appreciate it, man. Anything you got going on, I'm gonna support you, and vice versa. That love has always been mutual. You know, if anybody want to try to reach out to me about training, man, remember I train kids from ages 5 years old all the way up to the professional level. You can find me on all of the social media channels, Route King, ROUTEKING _1 on Instagram, on Twitter, and then also on Facebook, Hilton Route King Alexander. And then also you can find me on my website online, www.routekingtraining.com. And then also my youth football organization, Atlanta Bulldogs Academy. We serve ages 5 all the way up to age 13. So I got 5U to 13U this year. That's AtlantaBulldogs.com for more information. And we're also on social media on Instagram, Atlanta Bulldogs Academy. So I appreciate y'all, man, for having me. I hope I said something tonight, man, that was insightful, that resonated with all the listeners. And I'm nothing but a call away if you guys ever need me again.
Man, and we definitely will need you again. We want you to come back as we keep diving deeper into the world of Little League sports. I mean, you know, these kids, man, they're doing some incredible things, and we're learning some incredible things. But hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We will be back. Skip?
Before you go ahead and say that, but before you close it out, I got one thing to say, or you want me to say it now? It's real
Go ahead
quick.
and say it now.
All of the youth coaches that tuned in tonight, I didn't realize I follow Howard on the 11 and up thing. I didn't realize it was you, brother. We want to get you on here too, man. We want to get all y'all on here to promote your kids and pump up your teams and everything else. So the fact that y'all tuned in, great. But we also want to talk to y'all too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great show tonight, fellas. Until then, everybody at home, like I said, we will see you next week. But until we do, keep your beard cold and your wings lemon pepper, baby. We are out.